Chapter 10. When I wake up, I'm not in the boat, but lying on a cold floor near the bow. What's this on my nose? Yuck! A spider! I brush it off. I get up and take in my surroundings. I'm in an attic. Hopefully the right attic. But where's Elena? And for that matter, where's the high priest? I hear moaning coming from behind the boat and go to have a look. He's also been thrown from the boat and is lying on the floor. I get down on all fours and lick his face. Oh, Rapahaman, did the spell work this time? I think so. Let's explore. With some difficulty, the high priest gets up. I look him up and down. He seems normal. Maybe in his case, normal is going too far, but he's standing. The attic is dark except for the moonlight coming in through two small windows. There are old trunks and pieces of furniture covered in dust and spider webs, just as Elena told us. Shouldn't Elena be here? I ask. Maybe when we did not appear, she went to sleep. Typical Elena behavior. Are we going to tell her you made a mistake and took us to the past? How many times must I tell you? I did not make a mistake. You sneezed and threw my prayer off. And of course we are going to tell her. Fine, fine. The high priest always likes to have the last word. Fine, I say under my breath. By the way, you do realize you have met a high priestess just as I told you you would. For the love of the gods, you're right. But you also told me she would reveal secrets to me. How do you account for the fact she didn't? I cannot. But take heed. At times like these, I need all my self-control not to scratch him. Shouldn't we get out of this attic and look for Elena? I ask. I guess so. Fine, fine. This time I let him have the last word. Follow me. I walk over to the door. Just as I turn the knob, I hear a crashing sound behind me, like a cascade of metal objects. I turn around, the high priest is massaging his knee, and scattered on the floor around his feet are 40 or 50 pieces of flatware. Also on the floor is the box that contained them. Do you think you could make more noise? I say. Forgetting my feline ears are far more sensitive than human ones, he curses under his breath, using profanities even I didn't know existed. I pull the door open a few inches, just enough to stick my head out. There's a small landing and a flight of stairs leading to the floor below. I listen. All's quiet. I hope the high priest lets it stay that way. I open the door wider, step out onto the landing, and whisper to him to follow. The area is in darkness. No problem for me, but I'm concerned about the high priest. Hold on to my tail, I tell him, and extend it so he can grab it. Nothing happens. I turn around to see what the problem is, but he isn't there. Suddenly, a bright light is shining in my eyes. I'm stunned. I lose my footing, tumble down the stairs, and land on my rump. Dazed, I hear footsteps on the stairs above me. Then the high priest is standing over me, shaking me. Rapahaman, Rapahaman, are you all right? I think I'll survive. That is, if you stop doing that. What the hell was that light? It was me. I went back into the room to get a flashlight I saw in there. He has the gall to switch it back on and shine it in my eyes again. Now it's my turn to curse at him, and I use profanities I'm sure he's never heard before. Between one curse and another, I manage to tell him to switch the damn thing off. After I regain my self-control, I check myself for broken bones. Everything seems intact, except for my dignity. When I get up, I smell roast chicken. Is the shock from the fall making me hallucinate? No, the smell is too good to be imaginary. I realize I'm starving. I ate only a few hours ago at Stonehenge, but technically, I haven't eaten in more than 3,000 years. I have to find the source of the delicious smell. We're on a small landing, and a second flight of stairs leads to a lower floor. I have no problem seeing, but I fear the high priest might have another accident. Now's the time to turn on the flashlight, but please don't point it at me. I hear several clicks, but see no light. What's the matter? Well, the flashlight no longer works. The batteries are probably dead. Unable to see, he might break his neck before I find the roast chicken. I'm sorely tempted to leave him behind. But if I run into Elena, she'll be angry with me for deserting him. We'll both have to rely on my night vision. Grab my tail and don't let go. This time he takes it and holds it tightly in a sweaty hand. The discomfort I feel verges on pain, but I'm willing to bear it since it means I know where the maniac is at all times. As we go down the stairs, the smell of roast chicken grows stronger. The stairs seem interminable. When we finally reach the bottom, we find ourselves in a small corridor. The smell is coming from behind one of the doors. I push it open. It's a kitchen! It has a large window through which I see only a stone wall until I crane my neck and look up. On the top of the wall is a railing, and between the bars I can see pieces of the moonlit sky. The kitchen is in the basement of the house. There's enough light for the high priest to see by. He lets go of my tail. I give it a comforting lick and him a dirty look. The kitchen is double the size of our kitchen in New York. In the middle is a massive wooden table. I jump up on it in hope of finding the roast chicken, but I'm disappointed. All I find are a bowl of fruit, a pitcher of water, and an open bottle of red wine. I hear the familiar sound of a refrigerator's generator kicking in. Is the roast chicken in the refrigerator?
Why are we here?
The high priest asks. That question man has been asking himself since the beginning of time.
Rappahamon, you know very well what I mean.
I thought I smelled Elena.
Well, she is not here. We should search the house for her.
He can be very annoying. To leave now, when I'm so close to that roast chicken, would be pure insanity. I decide to ignore him and jump down from the table to look for the refrigerator. I find it, open the door, and, inside, illuminated by the bulb, sits the object of my desire. It's on a large plate, surrounded by roast potatoes, carrots, and onions. Carefully, I take the plate out with my forepaws and set it on the table. I don't want another noisy accident, so I leave the refrigerator open to give the high priest more light.
That roast chicken looks good. Do you think we could each have a piece?
That's what I thought he would say. What about Elena?
She can wait.
That's what I thought he would say. Someone has already gotten to the wings. I pull a leg off for myself, then remove the other one and hand it to the high priest.
Exquisite,
he says after taking a bite. I agree. Whoever cooked this chicken knows his business. What about some wine?
Good idea. Let me find some glasses.
Don't bother. We can drink from the bottle. I grab it from the table, hand it to him, and he takes a long sip.
Ah, blood of the gods, he says,
returning the bottle to me. I'm drinking the wine when the kitchen door swings open and a ghost enters. It has wires in its head and is wearing a long white robe. I spit out the wine, spraying the table on the high priest. The bottle falls from my paws, crashing loudly as it hits the floor. I leap on the high priest's head and close my eyes. The ghost speaks.
What the hell are you doing?
Funny, the ghost speaks in Elena's voice. I open one eye. It is Elena.
What's that on your head? I ask. Hairpins! What's that on your head?
She points to my bandage.
And what happened to you two? I waited in the attic for hours for the boat to appear.
She walks over to the refrigerator and slams the door closed, leaving only moonlight to see by. I hear muffled sounds from under my rump. Oops, it's the high priest. I carefully crawl down from his head to his shoulder. He spits out some fur I must have shed out of fear.
We encountered some turbulence, he says.
Elena draws a chair and sits at the table.
Hold that thought. Now tell me, Rappahamon, what happened to your head?
I swallow hard before answering. I was cleaning a windowsill when the window came down on my head. Gato Hamon stitched me up.
I see,
Elena says, arching one eyebrow.
Now you sit,
she commands the high priest.
What do you mean you were delayed by turbulence?
Glad her anger is no longer directed at me, I breathe a sigh of relief. But she adds, looking in my direction,
and don't you move from his shoulder.
I have no intention of going anywhere, but if I did, I would certainly have to give it up now. Sometimes I think Elena could have been a general.
And so the Inquisition, made more threatening by near darkness, begins. I asked you, she says to the high priest, what do you mean you were delayed by turbulence? I feel sorry for him. That is, until he tells Elena that turbulence was my sneezing during his prayer. I make sure he knows I'm displeased by digging a claw into his shoulder. After a loud ouch, he goes on to describe what happened to us in Stonehenge. Elena punctuates his narrative with incredible or unbelievable. When he finishes, she begins her relentless questioning. Every last detail must be recounted, and I step in whenever the high priest's memory falters. Inevitably, she asks me, when Gato Hamen read the tarot cards, didn't he say you would meet a high priestess who would reveal secrets to you? I know, but she didn't reveal anything. Elena looks at the high priest. How do you explain that?
I cannot, but I can tell you this. I have never misread a man's future. Granted, he is a cat, but still.
Look, you two, I say. It's my future, and I don't want to talk about it. Now can we return to the present? I jump from the high priest's shoulder onto the table. Elena, I've been dying to ask you. Who was the cook who prepared this sublime chicken? That would be John. He's the factotum here. He's a wonderful man. The high priest grimaces.
Oh, really? So where is this wonderful man?
I'm going to stay out of this one. Elena once told me an Italian proverb, Tra moglie e marito non mettere dito.
Don't come between husband and wife.
I finish my chicken leg and listen to their marital tiff. John is asleep, I suppose, Elena replies.
Still? With all the noise we made?
He must be a heavy sleeper, like me. I didn't hear you either. Of course, I wouldn't have heard you even if I had been awake. You came down the servants' staircase. If the noise we made didn't wake you up, why are you here? I ask, even though I think I know the answer. She hesitates. My stomach woke me up. That's what I thought. And she had the gall to scare the hell out of us when we were doing exactly what she had planned to do. But I think we should call it a night. We're going to get up early tomorrow.
Why?
The high priest and I ask in unison. Because tomorrow there's a flea market here in Bath. Fleas? You want to buy fleas? I ask, not believing what I just heard. Oh, Puss in Boat, you can be so silly sometimes. A flea market is where you buy old things, used things, antiques. But why is it called a flea market? Oh, I don't know exactly. I guess it's because old clothing is sometimes flea-ridden, but I don't think we'll encounter any fleas. I see, but I don't see. I don't like fleas, and why anyone would risk catching them is beyond me. Elena gets up, goes to the switch by the kitchen door to turn the lights on, then walks over to the table, picks up the plate with the chicken and, much to my dismay, puts it back in the refrigerator. She goes into a cupboard, takes out a broom and a palette, hands them to the high priest, and points to the pieces of glass on the floor. You'd better clean this mess up. I don't want John to see it. He bites his bottom lip. I wonder what curse he's suppressing. And you, she says, looking at me and handing me a sponge she took from the sink, you'd better clean the table. I do some lip biting of my own as I take the sponge. That's better, she says, when we finish with our chores. Why is she pointing an index finger at me? What does she have in mind now? Remember, Rappahammen, in this house you must act like a normal cat. Normal? You know exactly what I mean, she says, fixing her gaze on me. No walking or talking like a human, or doing anything else for that matter that resembles human behavior. Do we understand each other? Yes, ma'am, I say, while bowing. Does that mean I don't get a bedroom to myself? Yes, I mean, no, you don't. I see. You mean I'll have to sleep on a pillow on a chair? That's what normal cats do. This English vacation may not yield the pleasures I'd anticipated. I'd almost forgot about your medallion, Elena adds. I'm sorry, you can't wear it here. You'd better take it off and give it to me. I oblige, and she puts it in her robe pocket and gives me a comforting pet on my head. Thank you, Rappahammen. I promise to take good care of it. She opens the kitchen door, Quietly now, she says, before stepping through with the high priest behind her and me in the rear. We climb the servants' staircase. On the first landing, she points to a door. This leads to the ground floor rooms, she whispers. We're going to the first floor. That's where our bedroom is. Isn't this the first floor? I ask. Not in England, she explains. Here the ground floor is, well, the ground floor. The next floor is the first floor. We climb another flight of stairs to another door, which she opens. Follow as quietly as you can, she whispers. The floor isn't carpeted. Elena is wearing slippers, but the high priest is wearing sneakers, and they squeak with every step. She stops, turns around, and commands him to take them off. We resume our walk like three thieves in the night, Elena tiptoeing gracefully, the high priest ungracefully, with a sneaker dangling from each hand. I walk comfortably and soundlessly on my padded paws. We pass a big staircase. This is the main stairs, Elena informs us. Our bedroom is that one. She points ahead of us to the left. It faces the front. It has the most gorgeous view. We're almost there when something hits me in the head. Hurt and frightened, I give out a cry to wake the dead. Shush! Elena commands. What the hell was that? I ask, rubbing my head. The high priest bends down. I'm afraid it was me, he says sheepishly. I dropped one of my sneakers. Assassin! I cry. Shush! Repeats Elena. I hear someone running across the floor above us. She hears it too. Now you've done it. You've woken up John. Within seconds, the famous John runs down the main stairs and appears by our side. He's barefooted and wearing a long, striped nightgown. Is everything all right, madam? I heard what sounded like a jaguar's cry. That was Leopold, Elena says. The high priest and I look around, searching for Leopold. Behind her back, Elena shakes an index finger at me. I understand. For some unfathomable reason, I'm now Leopold. John gives me an appraising look. I see, madam. Not only does he make sounds like a jaguar, but he's as big as one. What unfortunate accident befell him that he had to be bandaged? The high priest befell him, that's what. Oh, nothing serious, Elena assures him. He received a minor scrape. She sees John looking at the high priest. How silly of me, John. Let me introduce my husband, Jack. The high priest looks dumbstruck. It takes him a moment to realize he's Jack. How do you do, John? Fine, sir. How do you do? We were expecting you this afternoon. I mean his plane was late, Elena says. I'll fetch the luggage, madam. No, cries Elena. Seeing John's puzzled look, she adds, Jack has already brought it up. Very well, madam. Would madam and sir like to have a repast? I took care of that, John. Thank you. Should I prepare something for Leopold? Good idea, John. I rub myself against his leg. No, he's on a diet. Diet? I see, says John, looking me over. I'm afraid we've spoiled him. If I were allowed to talk, I'd have a few things to say to Elena. Well, if madam and sir require nothing else, I bid you good night. Sorry we woke you up. Good night, John. Good night, madam, sir. Good night, Leopold. John bends down and runs a finger under my chin. I reply with a purr. I watch him disappear up the stairs before turning to Elena. But she and the high priest are down the corridor standing in front of a door. She's waving at me to follow. Where did you get a name like Leopold? I ask her when I reach them. If you really must know, I named you after a character in the novel Ulysses. In a few days, I've gone from Rappahamon to Gastone to Leopold. I dread to think what my next name will be. Was there a character named Jack as well? Asks the high priest. No, Jack is a very common name. He looks displeased, but thinks better of complaining. Elena opens the door. Come, Gatohamon. This is our bedroom. Good night, Rappahamon. Much to my dismay, they go inside, and Elena closes the door behind them. Then it opens again. Of course, she's pulling my leg. Just as I'm about to go inside, she comes out holding a pillow, which she drops on a chair. Good night, Leopold, she says as she closes the door. Bloody hell. I knock on the door, which opens an inch. Stop making noise. You'll wake Alexander. I'm supposed to act normal, right? I whisper. Don't normal cats sleep with their people? So shouldn't I be sleeping in your bedroom? Normal cats do sleep with their people, she whispers back before closing the door again. But you, Rappahamon, are not a normal cat. Elena can twist words to her advantage. Is she unique, or is it true of every woman? Defeated, I climb on the chair, sit on the big white pillow, then lie down. Travel is exhausting, especially time travel. I wet a forepaw and rub myself down till sleep overcomes me. I dream of the woman in the mirror. I don't see her, but I hear her. Her voice is muffled. I think she's asking for help. Tell me where you are, I say. She falls silent, and my heart, which has been pounding wildly, begins to slow down. But just as it resumes its normal beat, I have another dream. I'm back at Stonehenge. I'm in the boat, and the high priestess is walking away from me on the wide white avenue leading to the temple. As when we left her, the wind ruffles her dark hair and white robe. The sun, high in the sky, is sending down enormous flares in the shape of hands that hover over her as if blessing or protecting her. I jump out of the boat and run after her, but as hard as I run, I never reach her. Suddenly she stops and turns. I don't know how, but I find myself by her side. She brings her hands to her face, and I see the blood pulsate in the blue veins beneath her thin skin. She's taking off her gold mask. Finally, I'll get to see what she looks like.